Hello, welcome to Level Change channel. My name is Claudio Fonseca. I'm a real Boeing pilot, and today we are going to talk about the FlightLog Analyzer, an application that you can use together with your Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 to analyze your flights and do much more. To start, I'm going to show you the website for this application. The website, you will find the link on the description of the video below, but the website is very simple to get in. Is FlightLogAnalyzer.com. The main page on the website will explain you a couple of features and also will give you the option to download the application through this button below. So if you want to go into details on the features, you can go to the second tab on this website, and the third tab is the register tab. I want to explain you first the registration levels for this application. First, you have the free. Okay, so you don't need to register. You have the free version of this application. With the free version of this application, you will view your flight simulator logbook for lifetime. Okay, so I want to make this clear. This is for lifetime. You will also have access to the summary analysis on the flight attributes for lifetime. Okay, so these two features, it's going to be there forever. Okay, when you download the free version. Also, the free version will give you a trial period of 15 days to two features on this application. The first one is the display flight maps, and the second one is the display altitude profile chart. Okay, so once you download the application for the first 15 days, you will have these four features on your application working. After 15 days, the display flight maps and the display altitude profile charts, they will stop working, but you'll still be able to view your flight simulator logbook and also go through the summary analysis on the flight attributes. Okay, so this is the free version. Once you upgrade to the standard version, that it costs $12 at this time, of course, you will have the first four features for lifetime, and it also includes another feature, which is the export flight simulator logbooks. Okay, on this export, you have the option to export this Microsoft Flight Simulator Logbook to a couple of formats, which include CSV, XML, and QML. Okay, so these are the formats that are current in place for the version that we have right now. I am recording this video on 9th of September 2023, so it's always good if you come to the website and check for any improvements as well. And if you want to go even further ahead and go to the Pro subscription, that's the one that I have, you will also have the option to edit your Microsoft Flight Simulator logbook, and I will show you how to do it. If you are interested about the standard or the Pro version, on the register page, you just scroll down and you can go and pay using PayPal for the Pro license. As I said before, $18, and the standard license $12. Okay, if you have a promo code, you can also include the promo code on this window here. Okay, so I'm going to show you now this the FlightLog Analyzer itself. Okay, so to do this, I'm going to set my full screen, and from now on you can see the application running. Okay, so I'm going to delete my webcam for a while so you can have a full picture of the application. Once you open the application, that's what you are going to see. Okay, the FS 2020 FlightLog Analyzer, the current version I'm using is 1.3.8.0. okay, so first thing that we want to do when we open this application is to refresh Flight Simulator Logbook. If you press here, it's going to download all your Microsoft Flight Simulator Logbook, all your flights that you have there. In my case, I have 394 flights. Okay, so before we start, you have a couple of things you can choose from. So if you want to display the time in the 12 hours or the 24-hour format, and if you want this time to be displayed in UTC time, which is the GMT time, or the local time for the place that you departed and for the place that you arrived. Okay, I like the 24 hours format and the GMT time, which is the standard one from this application. Okay, so then you have all the information that is linked to your Microsoft Flight Simulator logbook, starting by the number of the flight, the date, where you departed from or where you started your flight, the runway that you departed, where you landed or the vicinity of the airport that you landed or crashed, your flight time, and then the flight time is divided in day flight time and night flight time. Then you have the flight distance, the number of takeoffs, and then you have it separated by the number of takeoffs you did during the day or at night, also for landings, and then separated for day landings and night landings. Then the manufacturer of the airplane, then the airplane itself, the category of this airplane, the startup location, if you start, for example, on the runway or if you start on the ramp, so you have all the information here, the type of the flight that you use to access this flight. For example, if it was a free flight on the Microsoft Flight Simulator or landing challenge or something like this, or a tutorial, it's going to be here on the type of flight. Then how the flight ended. So as you can see, the last almost 10 flights I finished using the ESC key to go back to the menu. I didn't finish the flight, I just stopped the flight. The latitude and the longitude that you started the flight, what type of weather you use. Usually I do live weather, but you can see, like for example, at this time I was testing something that I use clear skies, or for example when you are doing like I did this Red Bull landing challenge, there was a specific Dubai weather for this application or for this flight. And you also have the type of flight details, which is a Sobo free flight, for example, or a Sobo landing challenge or Microsoft landing challenge, and so on. Okay, so you can see all this information from your logbook. You can also sort it in the ascending or descending order. For example, right now is in the descending order from flight 394 going down up to flight 1. If I press on flight again, it sort in the ascending order from flight 1 and so on down to the flight 394. In my case, I have 394 flights. Okay, if you don't want to sort by flight number, you can sort by any column. For example, I want to sort by the place I started my flight, so I click on the from, and it's going to start on the ascending order, or if you press it again, it goes on the descending order. Okay, so I'm going on the descending order, and I want to see the flights that I did in São Paulo Congonhas, that I started in São Paulo Congonhas, and they are all here. This one is the first one I did in São Paulo Congonhas, all the way down to this one. Okay, so you can sort the way you want, so you can choose and you can find the flight by any of these columns. Okay, so it's very easy if you want to come and check where you were flying, what kind of flight you did, how was the flight, and so on. You can also drag the columns to put them in an order. For example, I don't want the latitude and longitude to be here. It doesn't really matter to me, so I can take the latitude and put it to the right, almost at the end, and I can also do the same with the longitude after the latitude itself. So right now I have a different layout where the latitude and longitude will be on the right side, because I don't really care about them. If I really don't care about them, I can also exclude these lines or make those columns, I'm sorry, no lines, the columns invisible. So instead of dragging the columns, you can use your your mouse to do a right click, and then it's going to open a couple of options. The only one you cannot disable is the flight, and that's because I think I selected through flight. Okay, let's say I don't want to show latitude and longitude again. I remove it, and now as you can see, latitude and longitude, they are not there anymore. Let me try to sort out by date, and when I sort out by date or maybe aircraft, I just want to make sure that I cannot remove the flight. Okay, so the only thing you cannot remove is the flight number. Okay, the flight number will always be there. All the other columns you can remove or add as you want. So right now we remove latitude and longitude because I'm not interested on them, and that's it. I just have to unmark these selections. Okay, another thing with this application is that you can come here on the right side and you have the flight group analysis. The flight group analysis is a very nice feature that this application has, and you can group the flights by pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 let's say groups. Okay, so for example, I want to see aircraft model code name. Okay, so in this case I will see, for example, how many flights I did with the PMDG aircraft 737-800. Was 57 flights. That's the flight time. How much I did during the day, during the night, the distance that I cover, number of takeoffs, how many were during the day and during the night, how many landings, how many during the day, during the night, the average time for each flight, and the average distance for those flights. Okay, you will always have also a total line at the bottom. Okay, and not only you can sort these groups by different categories, but you can also limit this information. So I want to see only for the past 30 days. So the past 30 days I only flew in the flight simulator the Asobo 787, the PMDG 737-700, and the PMDG 737-800, and it gives me the information about the last 30 days. You can go ahead and select 45, 60, 90, 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years for any of these categories that you have here. For example, aircraft type in all. So you can see that I did 169 flights with an airliner, 140 with a jet airplane, 38 with a propeller airplane, and 47 with a turbo airplane, as it described by the flight simulator itself. Okay, it doesn't change the description of the airplanes, it just take this data from your logbook. Okay, so if you want to see where you were flying, destination airport, for example, or even I know that there is someone for the departure. Okay, originating airport is here. So again, even on these columns you can sort as you want and even drag them around. Okay, so you can do whatever you want and you will find the totals below. This is a really cool feature if you want to analyze your flight. Okay, so that's the main purpose of this application. Okay, but it has more. Okay, so for example, let's find a flight here. Let's see one flight that I did, for example, from let's see, Miami to Atlanta. Miami to Atlanta. Let's see this one, flight 241. I can right click on the flight itself and it gives me a couple of options. The first one is the flight map, and there is a built-in viewer on this application, and then I can see the flight that I did. Okay, so this was my flight from Miami to Atlanta. So you can have a couple of options on your right side, like the satellite overview, if you want the satellite overview or not. The basic route, it's only create a straight line between departure and arrival airport. The detailed route is the blue route that you see right now, so you can hide it as well, and the origin and destination pins. Okay, so I like satellite overview, the detailed route, and the origin and destination, and when you go through you can check that I started pretty much my flight on this gate. It doesn't cover all the taxi because this is what the Microsoft Flight Simulator Logbook gives you, but I can see that I departed runway 8 right, and then basically I made a left turns, and then en route to Atlanta. Okay, let's get close to Atlanta, and then closer to Atlanta I got some radar vectors initially to the west and then back west to land on runway. This runway is 27 left, so I landed on runway 27 left, and eventually I stopped my flight here at this gate. So you will see all this kind of information on your flight. If you export this flight to a different format and for example open this flight on Google Earth, you have even more option and more details about your flight. I'm going to do it once, and I'm going to show you the Google Earth application with one flight, maybe even with this one. Okay, but I want to show you that you have more options like the flight profile. So the flight profile will give you 3 altitudes: the altitude that you were above main sea level, the altitude that you were above the ground level, and the ground level elevation itself. This is an area of the United States that the terrain is very flat, so that's why you don't see much difference on those lines, and you can also sort this the right or the line itself by time, that is right now, okay, or actually it's by distance right now, okay, and you can sort it out by time as well. Yeah, this one is distance. Yeah, this one is distance from 0 to almost 550 miles that I cover in this flight, or you can go by time. Okay, so this is the time. So I took a while to depart, and then I departed and I landed here with our almost 1 hour, 2 hours here. So from the minute 80, and I landed on the minute 170, let's say. So it was around 90 minutes flight. Okay, I want to show you a different flight for this, maybe from Galeão to São Paulo. And then on this one is a little bit different because you can see the ground elevation for this flight based in the distance or based in the time. Okay, so this is pretty much 0, and this is the altitude. It says 6,000 feet. Maybe I did this flight with a small airplane or something. It was the 737-700. I don't know why I was so low on this one, but as you can see, you will find everything. Let me try to find a flight that I did from Porto Alegre to Caxias. That one is a really good one. So I will sort by from, and I will find Sierra Bravo Papa Alpha to Sierra Bravo Charlie X-ray, and then here you can see the profile. I departed in an airport that it was sea level, and I landed or I touch and go in an airport that it was at 2,466 feet, and then I went around and I stopped my flight later on. So here you can see my altitude above main sea level, my altitude above the ground, and the ground elevation itself. Okay, so that's what you have if you click on the flight profile. Then you have the option to export this flight. When you open the export flight, you have a couple of options. You can choose the export format that you want, and some of these formats give you the information or the option on what do you want to export. If you choose KML, it will be everything, okay? But if you go to CSV, you can only take the basic flight info or the basic flight info and the flight route itself, okay? The same for the XML, you can choose between only the basic flight info and the flight route itself. So the basic flight info is pretty much whatever you have on the previous screen, on this screen, and if you go and export with the flight route as well, it will give you the flight route that you can see in this built-in viewer or in the application that you want to, okay? So this is the export flight. Another option that I have, I can delete the flight from here. So in this case, I was going to delete only the flight number 128, okay? You have a couple of other options to enter the editing logbook and this export information through the menu, and you can come here on the edit, okay? So on the edit, you have first some preferences that you can choose on your application itself, okay? I'm not going into details, it's very simple. You just come here and select whatever your preferences are, and on the file option you have the export, okay? So the export, it will open the same pop-up as you were using the right click and export on a single flight. The difference is that at this time, the flight number is not populated here, so you have always the option to change the flight numbers that you want to export, and you can type any number and you just use a comma and space, and then you can type another one. So in this case, I want to export the flight 1 and the flight number 10, or you can use flight 1-10. In this case, is going to export from flight 1 all the way to flight 10 itself, and you can use a combination. So let's say I want the flight 1 and then I want the flight 10 up to 15, and then I want the flight 100, okay? So in this case, it's going to export flight 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 100, okay? So use the combination as you want. If you leave empty, it exports all the flights, and that's what I'm going to do now, because I want to show you later on all my flights. So I'm going to click on export, and then another pop-up shows you can choose where you want to put this one, and I want to put on my desktop, and I will use this file here, the test file, and I'm going to save. In this case, it's asking me if I want to replace. If it's a new name, of course this pop-up will not show up. So in this case, I want to replace the current file. I'm going to say yes, and then it's exported, okay? So what can we do with the exported files? Okay, in this case, I'm going to go back to the internet, okay? I'm going to open a new page, and I'm going to go here on Google, and I will set Google Earth, okay? So I'm going to search for Google Earth. I'm going to open Google Earth. So as you can see, Google Earth is being opened right now. Hopefully. Yep. It is doing its magic here. It's loading Google Earth. Taking a long time, so let me try to refresh this page. It was supposed to be much faster. Of course, this is my current internet. This is nothing else. Of course, it will go faster at your place if you have a better internet. Okay, it took a while, but it opened. In this case, I'm going to delete whatever I have here, and I'm going to start a new one from a local KLM file, and I'm going to import. On my desktop, I have the test that I just saved, okay? So in this case, it already opened all my flights in Google Earth, okay? So let's go there again, and let's try to find that flight that I did from Porto Alegre to Caxias. Most probably is this one, okay? Flight 128. Okay, so on the flight 128 here, you can see it's a flight from Porto Alegre to Caxias. And I want to edit this flight, so I want to highlight this flight. I want to make this line wider, so I'm going to take 8 pixels, okay, and I'm going to change the color of this line to red so I can distinguish from the other flights. Okay, so right now, as you can see, I have a red line on this flight, and the flight is here. On this one, I can also use the 3D view, and you will see a 3D view of this flight, including the altitude itself. So I did this flight, departed Porto Alegre, left turn towards Caxias, and I landed somewhere close to the airport. In this case, I don't know if it's the same flight that I took, but in this case I even went around. Okay, let's find another flight here, which can be let's come here to Europe. Okay, I have a flight here from Frankfurt to Munich. Okay, flight 379. Okay, so I don't want the flight 128, I just want the flight, let's close this, I just want the flight 379. Okay, that's the flight 379. I'm going to edit this flight. I'm going to put the same 8 pixels for the line, and now I want this color in magenta. Okay, so I just change it to magenta, and now you can see that I have this flight that I did from Frankfurt departing runway 18 all the way down to Munich. If I'm not wrong, was Munich runway 26 right landing. You can even see here that I overshoot the localizer for this approach. I was being radar vector by a virtual ATC. If I'm not wrong, in the, well, maybe Vatsin, maybe Iveo, I don't know. So it was a delay vector to the final approach, and you can clearly see this one. And then I level off at platform altitude until the time I started my 3D glide path descent towards the airport. Okay, so this is what you can do. For example, if you come to this if you come to the Google Earth, I forgot about the name, Google Earth, for example, of course, your knowledge of Google Earth, it's your limitation to work with those flights. Okay, another thing that I'm going to do again, and we'll be back to the main screen of this application. I'm going to remove my webcam again, and we go on the edit. On the edit, I can edit the flight simulator logbook. You noticed before I can click on any flight and I can delete this flight, but I also have the option to edit my logbook. And then on the edit logbook, it says that this too deletes unwanted flight from the logbook. Okay, so you can type for example any number here that is going to permanently delete your flight. Okay, it's going to delete from this list, it's going to delete from your Microsoft Flight Simulator logbook itself. Okay, so for example, if you don't want to have the flights that you crashed, because actually a real pilot doesn't have the flights, those kind of flights in its logbook for simple reasons. So for example, you can come here and mark crashed flights. So in this case, it's going to select all the crashed flights that you had, and you can just click on snip here and it's going to delete all the crashed flights. Okay, one thing that I'm going to show you as well is that once you change your logbook, okay, it's going to open another pop-up for you to confirm. You can say okay, and now it's going to open up, decompress your logbook, and it's going to delete those files. Okay, so instead of 394 flights, I have now once this is finished 357 flights. Okay, please note, anytime you change your logbook, go into the edit information here, you can always restore your Flight Simulator Logbook from a backup. So once you edit the Flight Simulator, the application creates a backup of your logbook, okay? And this is the backup that was just created 1 minute ago, so with 394 flights. If you want to anytime restore, you can click on it and then you proceed, and then you are going to see that I have my 394 flights back, okay? Anytime, if you want to create a backup for your flights right now, you don't want to make any modification, you just go to edit and backup of the FS logbook. On this one, you can also enter a name for this backup file. So for example, I'm going to write here 09 December 2023 and I'm going to save. Okay, so backup is complete. Let's say that I edit the Flight Simulator Logbook. I want to remove the crash flights. I just remove the crash flights. Of course, it takes a couple of seconds to remove the flights. And then once I have the 357 flights again without the crash flights, I can restore from a logbook. It just created a new backup, so every time you change something, it creates a new backup. Okay, you will see this big name here. This is the backup that was created. If you are unsure about the name, of course you can come to the data and date, the date and the time of this backup, and you can choose from. In this case, I want to select the 9th of December 2023, the one that I manually created. I want to proceed, and then my logbook, it's been restored from that backup. Okay, so now I have all my flights again. Also, when you go to the restore, you will see the list of the backups that you have. If you click on it and delete, use your delete key, you can delete these backups. Okay, so I'm going to delete the 3 backups that I have. Okay, I don't want any of them, but to make sure you delete it, you have to click on proceed. If you just cancel or close, when you come back to the restore from backup, they are there. Okay, so if you want to delete them, make sure you hit the delete button and click on proceed. So once you click on proceed, it's not going to do anything because you didn't select any backup, but it's going to delete. So if you go back in the restore from a logbook backup, it says there are no backups for you. Okay, so that's how you work with the editing of your Microsoft Flight Simulator Logbook. Okay, that's what I have for today. So let's go back to the website for a minute. This is the website, FlightLog Analyzer. Once again, the link for this website is in the video description below. You have on the first page the option to download this application, and then from this download, you just execute the application. It's going to install the application on your computer. You can make sure it runs, it works on your computer, it works with your Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then later on you can decide if you want to upgrade to the standard or the Pro version. I do really recommend the Pro version. That's the one that I'm using, especially because of the editing of your logbook. Okay, so if you don't want the Microsoft Flight Simulator to be the current mess that I'm sure your logbook it is, so you must have this application to edit easily your flights and of course analyze any flight that you want. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like, please hit the like button. You can also share this video with your friends. It's going to be much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.